Welcome to another knuckle-scraping episode of Fearless TV, the program that's flatlined before, but always makes it back for another trip over the edge. Coming up the next half hour, it's back to the roof of the world to see who survives the next stage of our assault on the summit of the world's highest peak. We burn some serious rubber on the latest racing range of Buell motorcycles with a smoke and tyre test. And we'll look at the way not to land tricks in wakeboarding. All this and other stuff on Fearless TV. This week, we rejoin our climbing expedition high above the notorious Khumbu Icefall, well into the next stage of their journey into the clouds, and the extreme conditions on the upper faces of Everest. As one would expect at this altitude, weather patterns can and do vary widely in the space of hours, and a much welcome rest comes in the shape of waiting out a storm. Tent design and stability is a crucial factor on a climb like this, as not only do they have to be carried along with other necessities such as food, they must be able to withstand severe conditions. Lack of shelter in this environment equals short lifespan. Restoration of energy is a must, as physical and mental pressures endured by the body are enormous, and reserves are quickly depleted at 7,000 metres. The surrounding beauty is stark contrast to the ever-present danger of death from altitude sickness. Occasional glimpses of the summit serve to refocus the climbers on the mission at hand, and in 10 degrees and clear conditions, they prepare for the next section of the climb. Once underway and the weather changes,
Go to the left.
equipment adjustment becomes extremely difficult.
You can see it right now. It's up around there.
The path ahead is not technically a difficult climb, but many forces of nature must still be reckoned with on the way to the next base camp, the highest on Everest. Altitude sickness begins to take its toll, and every step must be accompanied by a rest with the lungs screaming for oxygen. Any mishap or accidentally triggered avalanche could prove fatal. Although it's not immediately obvious, the extreme factor here is high. Blood clotting due to altitude now becomes a constant danger. As the group approaches the final ridge, the overall difficulty of the climb is once again brought sharply into focus. And it's time we gave credit to the cameraman, who apart from carrying the same provisions as the other climbers, has camera gear and filming to contend with. We'll catch up with our climbers as they ascend into the jet stream in the next few weeks.
I've got brains for the opening of that sun.
The name Buell may be relatively new in motorcycling circles, but the brand is rapidly making a name for itself around the world. The brainchild of Eric Buell, who originally began designing the bikes in his garage where he faced bankruptcy many times, but the vision to create a new breed of motorcycles was strong, and the results can be seen here today. Eric continues to work in the R&D areas of the bike, and with the support of major shareholders Harley-Davidson, Buell motorcycles are making their presence felt in both recreational and racing circles, as well as some impact in the stunt riding arena. Boasting colourful names such as Lightning and Hurricane, and based on the Harley V-twin engine, the Buell, with its lower centre of gravity due to engine mounting, also serves as an excellent stunt bike. The only concern would be finding a tyre manufacturer willing to have plenty of rubber shredded. Nose wheelies are more traditional stunt work are no problem, with oversized upside-down forks and massive front discs to wash off momentum. The bikes are also belt-driven, helping keep the impressive torque on the road and maintenance intervals down. All round an impressive package. Skateboarding has had its ups and downs over the last 20 odd years, but has managed to come back from the void each time stronger and more innovative, thanks in part to the newer extreme sports such as wakeboarding and snowboarding, and the crossover of tricks with the various boarding disciplines. Street skateboarding in particular has taken off once again, with its highly visible associated lifestyle, and many of the top skaters able to earn huge sums of prize money, and brand name companies falling over each other to be seen on the feet, backs and bodies of the skate parks. The street is the most natural form of expression for many of the skaters, as it provides many interesting obstacles to grind or rail slide, and along with the shock value of some of the tricks, there's always a ready-made audience. Being slightly illegal in most major cities around the globe, it also has a high attraction factor for those keen on making a name for themselves. The more public and radical the terrain, the more credibility among fellow riders, and the bigger temptation to pull the sickest tricks. Handrails and planter boxes in the city streets are the favourite spots for some impressive slides, and the authorities attempting to stop this activity by adding barriers and extra railing only helps increase the challenge and bigger tricks being developed. It's not unusual to see these guys practicing for hours and hours in a specifically designed skate park to perfect the move so they can be taken downtown for more recognition. Here's a few airs, rail slides and grinds with some heavy traffic rides thrown in for good measure. Check out this fence grind for some hard action. It's our before and after tyre manufacture special. The noble art of bungee jumping is still waiting to be recognised as a fully sanctioned Olympic sport, and despite many efforts from practitioners around the world, the officials are still reluctant to step in and set up a system of rules. The most difficult aspect of bungee to master is the actual leaping off whichever obstacle has been chosen to provide the adrenaline rush for the jump. Once airborne, however, the rest is in the hands of the gods and those that check the bungee cord before the jump. As if leaping into the void many hundreds of metres above a river or narrow gorge wasn't enough, night bungee has become the new extension of this crazed pastime. Throwing yourself into the pitch black with the hope of not colliding with unseen obstacles has its own special fear and rush. Throw in a few flares and added spectacular effect, and the results are pretty special. No bats were harmed in the making of this film. Snow mountain biking is one thing. The sport obviously has some potential, but lift jumping is a whole new area. Here's one of the earlier teams. Mountain biking has a huge following around the globe, and in recent years more and more riders, in particular downhill racers, are looking for more creative ways to hone their finely tuned skills and machinery in the winter months. Recreational ski slopes already feature the natural terrain to blast off down the mountain, and along various trails in the off-season. With the added bonus of also having a highly effective lift system already in place, it's no wonder thousands are heading to the mountains for the downhill competitions, and riders are taking to the slopes to test their skills on the snow as well. Berms and moguls formed by the constant traffic of skiers and snowboarders provide good launching platforms, and we all know how soft snow is as opposed to dirt for a landing. Traction is the main problem facing those at the forefront of snow mountain biking. But like ice speedway, these problems too will be overcome in time. With the possible addition of wider, softer tyre compounds and spikes, the sport looks set to revolutionise the mountain bike industry. We rejoin our extreme canoe specialist on the Great Southern Traverse, this time downstream of the dam, with arms and shoulders burning and much distance left to paddle. But first, some minor carrying involved. Leg cramping is also a problem at this time. The section starts out with relative ease across the lagoon area below the dam, but once the river finds its natural course, the whole exercise becomes a different race. Rock formations and whitewater begin to play their part, and this is where the skill and river knowledge of the paddlers comes into play. The less time spent in the freezing waters, the better. The time to conserve energy is over, and the battle with the whitewater section of the course is well underway, testing all the kayakers' skill. Being able to Eskimo roll is also an added bonus. And we'll catch up with our contestants at the Great Southern Traverse on future editions. time we finish off this week's episode of Fearless TV with some whitewater tube pumping action.